I was doing a little research on a phrase I've heard for a long time, and it's not a nice phrase. It's very insulting to someone like me who is an educator, and that is those who can do, those who can't teach. And in doing my research, it turns out that that phrase is actually a misquote of a quotation from Aristotle, the Greek philosopher. And what Aristotle said makes much more sense, and that is, those who know do, those who understand teach. What a different light that puts on that situation, right? So, in order to teach a subject successfully, I believe that you need a much deeper level of knowledge, of understanding, than what the person who is just doing an activity may need to know to do that activity. For example, you may be able to bake a loaf of bread with no trouble at all, but in order to compensate for, let's say, a change in altitude, let's say you moved from Paris to Peru, so now you're up at many thousands of feet elevation. In order to correctly deal with that without just reading that out of a book, you would need to understand the chemistry involved in how the ingredients combine, what temperature does, what relative humidity does, what barometric pressure does to the ingredients, and the chemistry of how they come together in order to know how to compensate for that change in moving to Peru. The same thing is true with hoof care. There are a lot of people out there that are allegedly teaching hoof care, and when you look into their backgrounds, they don't have anything in their backgrounds that suggests that they actually have an education that is preparing them to teach hoof care. So they're going through the motions of trim this, trim that, cut this off, do that, but they don't understand why. And if you don't understand why, you cannot possibly be successful in every situation. Dora and I deal with the why of hoof care, not the how. The how is easy. We can teach anyone how to use a rasp and use nippers and use a knife. It's when to use those things, why you're using them, why you're cutting this part or not cutting this part at this particular time for this particular horse. That's the real important stuff. So to understand is to teach.